Hello everyone, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make $10,000 with just 5 snakes. This is not including the pre-setup, aka your enclosures, your thermostats, heat tape, incubators. None of that's being included in this. When you get these new animals, you are going to have to wait at least 3 years for them to mature as well. That's to allow time for the females to get to size to breed. The male in this instance will actually be ready a little bit sooner, so technically you could actually get them a little bit later, but for ease and simplicity we're just going to get them all at once and then just talk about if the market was happening right now today, what your return would be. Of course, we could never possibly know the exact odds, but we do know the averages. Ball pythons typically lay about 6 eggs. Of those 6 eggs, you're going to have about a 50-50 chance of male and female, barring any crazy genes like banana or coral glow. But of course, also this will be done with the odds being 50-50% chances of all the genes passing down. And before I go any further, I actually want to mention that breeding ball pythons should not be entered as a get quick rich scheme. Having done this now for a bit of time, it can be quite lucrative and eventually it will pay for itself and for its growth. There is an upfront cost, of course, for your materials and for the animals themselves. If you want to make a bigger splash right away, that cost is going to be a little higher, of course. We've also covered this on our how to start a business in ball pythons, which you can click on the screen right here if you'd like to check that out as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and tell you how to make $10,000 in 1 year with only 5 snakes. Now today I've chosen to go the clown pied route. You can do this in a lot of different ways. Now just to be clear, the market can change and fluctuate considerably. It's important to try to pick things that you think might have some sustainability. Basically what would be able to get your investment back at least. But today I want to go clown pied, which is a double recessive project. The reason for this is because you can kind of build upon this quite a bit. So if you start this way, you can build a very powerful amount of breeding animals and relatively quickly as well. We are starting from hatchling up. Of course, you could buy breeders, but that's going to way bring up your costs. First off, let's go ahead and get our male. I have chosen to just get a clown pied. You can find animals here for about $950 to $1,000 from people like Brock Wagner and Chimera and Steve Winkler. Pretty big names. For a clown pied male, you can get them for around $900 to $1,000. So let's just say $1,000 right off the bat. That will be our most significant investment today. So now moving on to females. When I was looking at this girl here was available for $350. There's another one here that's a little bit darker for $500, but I'm gonna go with the $350 one because when I built this video, she was available, so sue me. Anywho, she is a Mojave pastel het pied het clown. So now I'm getting double hets. That is going to be the theme for the rest of the animals that I get. Every single one will be double het. The benefits to that we'll discuss a little bit later. Mojave pastel is a very simple but very, very cool animal. And again, I want to be very clear here. I could get 4 more double head girls and easily achieve my goal. But I figured just for the sake of it, let's go ahead and add some genes in there, right? So pastel Mojave het clown. This will be our first girl. Mojave is really cool. Pastel, I could go with or without. It is very cool in this combo here, but the Mojave is really what I think would shine in a pied clown. Next, I picked a leopard double het clown pied. This is actually possible super leopard. This girl is coming in at $400, so not even quite half of our male. But leopard and clown obviously go together quite well. I also like what it does in pied. It's kind of a no-brainer to pick leopard. Also, we're just doing one breeding here, but if you hold back some of these and then breed them together to create even more powerful combos, that's how you keep innovating and becoming more relevant. So eventually you could maybe combine the previous 2 snakes. Maybe you get a male of the Mojave clown pied and then you get a female leopard clown pied, and you could combine those together and so on and so forth for the rest of our list. For our next female is probably one of my more favorite genes, and that would be GHI. So we're going for a GHI double het clown pied, and we've got a couple of them here for $500. Brings in a lot of darkness, kind of granulates the pattern as well. I really love what it does. It is a very visual morph. It's not subtle, but another really powerful addition to our females for the clown pied project that we are theoretically creating here. And for our final female, rounding out at 5 snakes, we are looking at our Firefly Yellow Belly Double Het Clown Pied. This one I honestly think is a crazy steal, even if you're just into the clown project because of the fire in the yellow belly especially. I think that this is a really good pick, and I'm surprised this snake was still sitting here when I went to go make this video. But that'll round it out for us, so let's flash forward 3 years and also assume that the market for clown pieds stays the same. If you're enjoying our video so far, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel out and helps us bring more content like this to you. So it's been 3 years now, and we're just going to assume everything went to the law of averages. That also means that we're going to be getting 24 eggs a year, because the average ball python female will lay 6 eggs a year. Again, this isn't going to work exactly this way. It's just assuming that the law of averages meets perfectly, which it will not. It will go in your favor in some ways, and it will go a little bit against you in some ways. Same thing with the genetics and the gender of your snakes. I alluded to this earlier, but for the sake of simplicity, right off the bat anyway, I'm just gonna go and negate the extra genes that we picked up. That way I can show you 4 simple results. Then we'll circle back and touch on maybe some of the potential results you could get with those genes in play. So we should get 6 clown pieds throughout the year. So as long as those odds play out, 3 would be male and 3 would be female. We're going by the average, and the average female clown pied sells for about $1,500. Considering you have 3 of those, that's $4,500 on just the first 3 clown pied females. Those are obviously going to be our heavy hitters, but we're almost halfway there already. And we kind of already know what our average male would be. This, by the way, would probably be the one that might drop the most, if any of them, in terms of what you would then be reselling it at, but I don't think it would all that much, honestly. Clown and pied have been a very powerful combo for quite some time, and I don't really see that changing. We're gonna stick with it, and the average here seems to be about 1,000. There are some, as I said before, in the 900s to 950, so you could even say that. In fact, let's just go ahead and just put 900, because I've already done the math. I've got plenty of wiggle room to make my 10,000. So next up would be our clown het pied, and it looks like our average here is about 200. 3 male clown het pied ball pythons, $200 each. That's $600 total. Moving on to our females, as you can see, we have a little bit of a considerable jump here. Our average looks to be, when I wrote this out, it was 550. In fact, it's risen a little, but I'll give the favors to the lower amount because I'm not worried about it. So you take that 550 again times 3, and we've got another 1650. That puts us at $9,450. We are this close, and we haven't even gotten to the pied het clowns. Looking at the pied het clowns, which is a result of which, again, we're going to be getting 3 of, these average in about 250. Again, actually, most of the results are a little bit higher, but we're now there. Let's just keep it at 250. Times that by 3, that's 750. That puts us at $10,200, and we aren't even done. So let's go ahead and see how much more we can rack up on that $10,000 that I said. Looking at the females here, it looks pretty easily that they've stayed at what I had at about $400. So $400 times 3 is another $1,200. That puts us at a running tally of $11,400. So now we go on to the double hets, which of course, they're going to be the cheapest ones. So looking at the males here, it looks like our average is going to be about the 75s. Females, it looks like they are averaging anywhere about 125-ish. 150. If you haven't paid attention yet, we are kind of skipping over some of the lower offers because there's always going to be some people who want to throw it up there to make a very quick sale. So what I try to go for is when I start seeing consistent numbers. So, and that's between 125 to 150. So the final number would be $12,000 with just 5 snakes. So again, this is the average amount with a $2,500 upfront cost. It's not going to work out perfectly like this. It's just not. So we've almost paid for our costs and then also made an additional $10,000. That's not counting any supplies that you would eventually have to do. And this is not counting if you're going to expand after this, of course, if you're going to reinvest a lot of those profits, which I do recommend you do unless you just want to keep this a very small, low low-key additional income source. But to keep up with the times, you are going to want to increase your genetics and add more, whether that's through your own breeding or adding more snakes from other breeders. So just for fun, let's go ahead and look at some of the examples of stuff that we could possibly get with some of our genes in play. We didn't even count for the genes, of course, and we got to the number we wanted. This would not be a result we could get, not right away anyways. Eventually, maybe 6 years from now, if you raise up the babies that you created, you could create the snake which sells for $5,500. But a GHI clown pied or a Mojave clown pied is going to fetch a considerable amount more, I'm sure, than just the clown pied. And again, I couldn't find anything with a pastel Mojave clown pied, but just this pastel Mojave pied that was maybe a het for clown went for $1,000. And with one more gene in the mix with Enchi, this snake right here is going for $7,000. Obviously, this would not have Enchi, our result. It would be without the Enchi, but you still do get a snake that would be ranging a little bit higher. And finally, for another example, again, this would be without the Orange Dream. We found this Yellow Belly Pastel Fire Orange Dream clown pied that went for $9,000. So you take out the Orange Dream, it is a result that we could potentially get. Again, I want to be very clear here that this is not supposed to be a get quick rich scheme. The market can rise and fall like the tide. You could go to sell these and they could have halved their amount. It's still a very safe bet, but don't do this for the wrong reasons. You should want to do this. I am just running a little experiment here because I think it's fun and it is a legit way to do this. Furthermore, it's not the only way to do this. I picked clown pied. Maybe we make a series of this because I could do this with a lot of different other animals. I guess the point I want to make is that this is fun and it is a potential way to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that money typically does pay for all of this, for the expansions. It has become self-sustaining for me and then some. Not to get too much information, but last year around Schaumburg time, I was in the hospital. In fact, the Schaumburg video, I was only out of the hospital for about a week. I did not feel good, and my bill made me feel even worse. My snakes paid for my medical help. I was disappointed that I could not use that money for animals, but it prevented me from having to pull out of savings. It is a lucrative ability to make some money, but it does take time and it does take investment. And with investment, there is risk. The market will change. Make sure that you're paying attention to the market. Double recessives are always going to hold some sort of value. So even if you were to invest this $2,500 and it absolutely bottomed out, I guarantee you're going to make your money back. It's a fun topic to talk about. If you enjoyed this video, maybe we'll do other ideas on how to do this, and maybe we'll do a higher amount. Maybe we'll do $25,000. Maybe we'll just say how to make yourself self-sustaining. If you like that idea, let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, you'd probably want to check out our video on how to start a ball python business that we did earlier this year, and you can find that right here.